Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to welcome all of you to the 10th anniversary of the acquisition of Community General Hospital by Upstate Medical University. That is a milestone worth celebrating. But what is even more important is what has happened in those 10 years. To begin with, we saved 900 jobs, but then have added hundreds of jobs over the next decade with many new programs, educational programs, clinical programs, research, and made this into a thriving partnership. That is worth celebrating. I'd like to welcome some special people today as we start the celebration. We have County Executive Ryan McMahon, Deputy Deputy County Executive Ann Rooney, thank you for being here. Deputy Mayor Sharon Owens, thank you for being here. We have Matt Jones representing Assemblywoman Pam Hunter. Thank you, Pat. We're always pleased to have Upstate Council members, including Chair James Sparks. Welcome, thank you. Council Member Calvin Corridors. Ms. Diane Dwyer, thank you. And Sam Browser, thank you. We also welcome Jim Getman, who served on the Board of Directors of Community General Hospital. So thank you for being here, Jim. And then I want not just to welcome two special people, but to thank them. Dr. John McCabe was the CEO of Upstate Medical University, and Dr. Tom Quinn was the CEO of Community General Hospital. They have been instrumental in making this a success. I will tell you very honestly, when we first heard that Upstate was talking about buying Community General, literally 100% of everybody said, can't be done. There's nothing in our history that indicates that a state university hospital can buy another hospital. There are unions, there are private doctors, there is this, there is that. We have the Byzantine state structure. It cannot be done. And I think everybody was betting against the two gentlemen sitting at the back there. I hope that makes you feel a lot better right now. You guys did something that really was unprecedented and did it successfully in a way that was respectful, that allowed us to grow, that allowed us to flourish. So I would really like both of you to stand up again and be acknowledged as the stars you are. We also have several guests who were here at the inception, and I'm not seeing Dr. Mitch Brody, who has been one of our doctors who's been here, but Dr. Mitch Brody, Dr. Halloran, and others have been right through this journey and been very helpful to us. Mr. Kenneth Redmore, if he can raise his hand. And, yeah, there he is. Ken, thank you. And our amazing, just retired Chief Nursing Officer, Nancy Page, who's also been here forever. And very importantly, from the Upstate Medical University Foundation, Eileen Pezzi. I did see her. Thank you for the team that put together this reception. Thank you very much. Can you all just acknowledge yourselves, please? It was... Thank you. It's always tricky these days. You don't know about the weather, the rules, masks, no masks, 6 feet, no 6 feet. And I'm seeing this sort of a hodgepodge of everything here to keep us safe. But thank you all for getting us to this point. And then I do want to thank our current leadership for having grown this, developed this, and you'll hear some more from our CEO about some of the new programs we have here, but they have been wonderful. And again, a personal view of this, I've always felt that Community General was a gentler, kinder, quieter hospital compared to downtown. And one of the things that I was very keen on is as we built, the acuity has risen, the number of beds has risen, more people here. We did not want to ruin something that was very valuable. And to your credit, Dr. Corona and his team have kept this a very special place, even as we have built. So with that, thank you all of you, those who started the journey and those who are continuing it in this amazing way. Thank you all. It's an amazing day to celebrate, and I'm going to turn this over to our absolutely fabulous CEO, Dr. Robert Corona.
Thank you, Dr. Dewan, and welcome. Sharon, good to see you. Ryan, you've been a wonderful partner throughout this pandemic. And Rooney, I think we became BFFs on the phone. Lori and Teresa, thank you for putting this all together. I just would like to thank everybody for being here. There's just been so many people that have been wonderfully helpful. Nancy Page now heading off to retirement. She's been a superstar chief nursing officer. So I just want to thank everybody. And then Tom and John, thank you for helping me as I transitioned into the CEO role. You told me all the landmines to avoid, and you've been incredibly helpful. So thank you. So I didn't want to go too far off script. When we joined together to become the largest hospital in the region, we're now at 715 plus beds, which has allowed us to have more capacity. And during the pandemic, capacity management was brutal. So we've invested more than $70 million in new technologies in the community for renovations and upgrades, and we're extremely proud. I just want to highlight a few of the things that we did here. We have a new 24-hour inpatient pharmacy. We have a healing garden, a new breast care center, a specialized emergency room for seniors, a pediatric after-hours urgent care service. And I have to tell you, my granddaughter, McCarran, who was born here the day Dr. Dewan mistakenly made me the CEO, McCarran got very sick this past week and had a little bit of respiratory distress and went to the Golisano after hours. And because they were so good and she was in a pretty serious situation, they immediately brought her over to the emergency department, which is right adjacent to the after hours, and she was treated well and eventually got to spend some time with us last weekend. But, it's just, you hear story after story about how wonderful community is. I get letters every day about how wonderful the people are here. And there was a concern, I remember when I first came over, that please don't upstateify Community General. I heard that from everybody. And we didn't upstateify, but we did. But we allowed the culture to remain the community culture within the Upstate family. And I think I'd like to thank Dr. Dewan for his leadership on this. He's very, very adamant about making sure that we are a kind institution. We are really going to continue to be kind. And I think that community spirit has spilled over into the downtown campus, so I think it's been a good thing. We also have an award-winning transitional care unit, a beautiful new family birthing center, which, like I said, I've got to experience, an epilepsy monitoring unit, and new technologies for hips and knee surgeries that are unique to this area, and an expansion space for ENT, bariatric surgery, breast care, midwifery, gynecology, urology, and vascular. We've won numerous awards along the way. Nancy drove us to magnet designation for our nurses, which is a wonderful award that hits only a single-digit percentage of the hospitals in the nation. And something Dr. Dewan and we can't figure out how it happened, but we got named one of the best, largest employers to work for by Forbes magazine, which I think was really kind of neat. So I want to thank all the 1,100 employees on site at Community. This is a great place. I love being up here, and thank you all who have gathered here to help us celebrate this ceremony. Your energy and commitment has really made this dream come true, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Corona. You really have done a fabulous job. And I have to admit, I should be allowed at least one mistake. I'm going to change the order a little bit, Nancy, with your permission. County Executive needs to leave in a few minutes, so I'm delighted to have County Executive Ryan McMahon come up next. So please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all, and it's great to be here. And really, it's meaningful for us all to be here together. So many of us have experienced a really unique perspective over the last 16 to 17 months. And who would have thought, guys, right? You preserved a regional gem in our community. You preserved the jobs. You preserved the medical infrastructure. And it would all be needed 9 years later. And again, I just want to obviously congratulate everybody that had a role in this. From my team, Ann Rooney is the last one who was involved with this from the county side of things. But when you play it forward, I wanted just to thank all of you and thank all of you for what you've all been through in your own lives. We've all been tested as a community. You were all tested with what you had to go through, with what you had to see over the last 17 months. And when you look back and reflect on it, there's a lot of trauma there. And think about the early days where we were worried about you all getting to work. Who would watch your children? When this really started to get hot, making sure that you had a place to go outside of your own homes if you wanted to isolate from your own families so you could come to work and help protect the rest of us. And without Upstate, specifically, our whole region and the rest of New York State would not have gotten through the first wave of COVID-19 specifically. The state was focused in on downstate New York appropriately, but the rest of us, we were there to work together. And it was this hospital that served northern New York, that served the southern tier, all of central New York. We used to chart testing, what zip codes, where people are coming from every day to get tested for COVID-19. We had people coming in from every part of the state into Syracuse, New York, because we could test. And so you all did that. And I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you all did and what you accomplished, because it was extraordinary, and you did it every day. And I knew, even though I didn't sleep a lot, when I did sleep during the pandemic, a couple hours a night, I slept well, knowing we had all of you on the front lines. So congratulations. What you did was remarkable. The decision-making in this community 10 years ago was remarkable. Who would have ever thought we would have needed all this for the 100-year pandemic? But it's all played forward very, very well. So I just wanted to thank you again, and God bless all of you. Take care.
Thank you, County Executive McMahon. He hopefully is on time now. Also delighted to welcome Deputy Mayor Sharon Owens. Please come up.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me here. Here on behalf of the mayor. It's interesting when I think about this hospital, particularly when my husband and I bought our first home. It was in the Valley neighborhood. So community was our home hospital. Our doctors were in the physician building. And it is a warm, kind of small village kind of hospital feel here, and it always has been, and I'm glad that it continues to be. It holds a special place in our family, because this is where we came. We remember emergency visits at this hospital. We remember just routine hospital doctor visits at this facility. So it brought back a lot of memories when I came back here today. It's been a little while since I've been here. The county exec said it all. This hospital, through the COVID pandemic, even now with Dr. Amy Tucker and myself and LaToya Jones serving as co-chairs of the COVID Equity Task Force, and the work of hundreds of people that signed on to just be part of the army that's out, particularly during the testing phases, but now during the vaccination phases. And we still have work to do in the city, and we're going to continue that work. When I thought about, a couple words to say when I came up here, I just began to think of how many rooms I sit in with the Upstate family. I feel like I've been, I don't work for Upstate, but I sure feel like the Upstate family. When it comes to our work with COVID, when a couple of you are part of our blueprint efforts around 81 and the work being done down there in that neighborhood off of the Adams Street corridor. When I think of just the news we heard yesterday from the governor about gun violence and it being a public health crisis, it was Dr. Corona and Dr. Dewan who said and declared long ago that this is a public health crisis. And now we have the state saying the same thing. So I'm ready to roll up my sleeves, as I always have with Upstate, particularly the trauma hospital. As we try to with the VPOP Center, I just go back and back and back about relationships with you all to serve this community and its public health needs. So I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and let's get after this gun violence issue and let's treat it as the public health epidemic that it is, the same fervor we did and we continue to do with COVID. So thank you, Upstate, for including me in everything that you do, and I'm going to continue to work with you as I have for many, many years. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Owens. I welcome you as part of our family. You've always been part of our family, and we've appreciated the support that we've got both from the county as well as the mayor's office. It really has been special, needed, and extremely helpful. So thank you again for being here and for your remarks. I think Nancy Page represents 11,000 of our employees, and she is clearly one of the best examples that makes us Upstate strong. Nancy has been instrumental in changing the culture, in allowing the integration, in allowing a respectful way of dealing with patients, with students, with everybody. And so Magnet is your sort of legacy for us. Thank you for that. Forbes is very much part of your legacy as well. Thank you for that. But today you represent a lot of people who worked very hard to make this a wonderful combination. And again, you have sort of worked on the odds that Dr. McCabe and we sort of saw him say we could do this, and you have carried on that tradition. So welcome, and podium is yours. Thank you.
No pages of prepared remarks, so you're almost out of here. So really, I'm not here as the former chief nursing officer. I'm really here as a family member of Community General Hospital. My husband, many of you know, Dr. David Page, admitted here for many, many, many years, continues to send patients here. I asked him this morning, I said, what would you say? He's, of course, in the office seeing patients. I said, what would you say? And he said, it's just like family there. He said, you always felt comfortable whenever you walked in. Even if I hadn't met that nurse before, you always felt comfortable. You were the family to us as we started our family, as I walked in as a petrified first-time mother to a childbirth class thinking, what have I done? That now are free, completely free to the community. So how this institution has progressed, how that family birth center now is just welcoming to the entire family to be with you, to have peds after hours where we've certainly been with our grandson, to watch nurse managers love it, walk in with Upstate Strong and all different Upstate t-shirts, to have added hundreds of jobs, hundreds of jobs to this campus is just absolutely delightful. So keep being the absolute gem that you are for Upstate. So very glad. My husband and I, when we heard that they were looking, Upstate was looking at acquiring Upstate, and he was on the board, so I might have had some insider's information. We both just said, oh, thank God, because this hospital needed to continue to exist for this community. So just so absolutely thrilled of what this place has become, and it is going to be delightful to watch what you will do in the future. So congratulations, community, 10 years and very much part of this wonderful Upstate family. So thank you.
Thank you all for coming here. Thank you all for making this a really remarkable 10th anniversary. And before we end, I'm going to invite Dr. Corona back up again.
Surprise. Yeah, good. Okay. So we've been talking a lot about this building, and you may have been wondering how we're going to commemorate the 10 years. And we thought we would build upon the existing strength of Community General, now Upstate Community Hospital. So I'd like to ask Mr. Ken Redmore and Mr. A.T. Thabit to come on up here to help me out, because we're going to unveil the newest addition to our landscape to commemorate this very special day. And it's because our employees here are very strong, as you've heard. They've been a big part of Upstate, and they show strength and perseverance, and so I have to say this, it's a little bit corny, but they really rock.
Is it the cue?
That's the cue. And so this is going to go into our garden. So I want to thank you all for coming and spending this beautiful day with us and celebrating, and I hope you all have a great week. Thank you. That's the end.